It was the night after Christmas. Some words were spoken. My parents were divorcing. My heart was broken. When my parents decided to get a divorce, it changed my entire worldview, and subsequently how I celebrate Christmas. I was born in Texarkana, Texas, smack dab in the middle of the Bible Belt. My mother's church was a humble white building with a short steeple. Inside, a few rows of simple pews, an old podium, and a simple cross with a red cloth draped over it. During Christmas, it had green garlands lining the pews, a gussied-up Christmas tree on the stage, and on Christmas Eve, the comforting smells of a Southern-style feast gently wafting from the back room. We moved around for a couple of years before settling back in Texarkana, where my mother decided to convert the family to Catholicism. We enjoyed the level of ritual that Catholics subscribe to, especially the rituals surrounding Christmas time. Advent wreath making, the Advent calendar countdown, finding gifts for the charity tree kids, and the long, but very special, midnight mass. Christmas at St. Edward's was a beautiful time. My devotion to Catholicism was deepened when the U.S. military moved our family to Germany, a historically Catholic country. In Germany, my family attended the church on post during its Catholic service times. While in Germany, as Catholics, we took the advantage of being so near historic cathedrals and visited so many I've long since lost count. Though normally the German cathedrals felt depressingly somber, during Christmas time they were happy havens from the dark, frigid winter days. In the final week before Christmas Eve, a favorite event of mine would commence. The Christmas market would come to town. When the stalls are all lined up with a layer of snow on them and warm light radiating out of them, it looked like a village Santa's elves would reside in. In the stalls you can find handmade wooden children's toys, sugared nuts and colorful traditional candies, blown glass ornaments, hot soups and meats, roasted chestnuts and Glühwein, a German spiced red wine that was served hot to keep shoppers warm. It more than felt like home. With my blonde hair, blue eyes, and freckles, most Germans assumed that I was German too, and treated me like I was home. The Catholic Church here at Fort Huachuca also welcomed me as though I were home, until my parents applied for an annulment of their marriage. Coming from Germany to Arizona was an interesting experience to have in the dead of winter. Firstly, it felt warm when we arrived at the 40-degree Fahrenheit airport in Tucson, compared to the negative 18-degree Fahrenheit it was when we left for the Frankfurt airport. Secondly, the landscape was so exotic, compared to the gray skies and oppressively tall, snow-covered trees in Germany. It was December 26th. While sitting among my Christmas gifts, talking with my sister, my parents sat down on the floor beside us and told us that they needed to talk to us. Mom and Dad were slow to speak, both with glassy eyes, welling up with tears they fought fervently in an attempt not to alarm us. But it did alarm us. So they tried to prompt their terrible news with what they thought were comforting statements like, "You know we love you," and "We would never stop loving you," and "You know we would never do anything to hurt you girls." But as their voices cracked and breathing changed, I knew immediately they were going to divorce. My 10-year-old sister was very scared, and after being told that Mom and Dad didn't love each other, she burst into violent sobs. I, on the other hand, was in shock. I only looked at the floor, and later went to my room to spend the rest of my day in still silence. My dad was the first to stop attending church, but it was not long after that people started asking questions, and my mother was instructed by church authority that she could not participate in communion until the Pope annulled their marriage. It did not take long for her to feel the exclusion, side eyes, and whispered gossip going on, but she kept taking me to church since I was so newly confirmed. At that time my faith was at its peak. I made rosaries and used them for prayer every night. But when my parents moved into separate houses, it was much harder to stay faithful. My mother moved into a little brick house, and my father moved into an even smaller townhouse. In that following year, when Christmas came back around, I decided that I hated Christmas. I no longer saw it as a magical time. I saw it as a capitalistic cesspool centered around money flaunting and wasteful practices that senselessly harmed the environment. I had lost my religion, but not my spirituality. I had looked at different religions and found that I appreciated many of their beliefs. The Hindu belief of reincarnation gave me hope. The Buddhist teachings of peace and love consoled my moody teenage soul. The common indigenous American belief of God as imperfect and all-encompassing of good and evil eased the fear of hell that I had harbored since hearing some fire and brimstone-type sermons as a child. And an interest in my family's Celtic ancestry satisfied my desire for reliable ritual. Celtic tradition also had a winter celebration that I could get excited about as I had been for Christmas before, so I started a family tradition of celebrating Yule, a holiday unadulterated by Christianity and my parents' sad divorce. Today I consider myself an ominist, a term originally coined by English poet Philip J. Bailey, and it basically means that I believe in the truth of all religions, wherever the truth as I perceive it presents itself. My family still celebrates Christmas with our friends and families who do celebrate Christmas out of respect for our southern roots, but Yule is now our favorite holiday. We celebrate Yule avidly. We always have a living Yule tree decorated with edible ornaments as gifts for God's creatures. Then we find a Yule log sustainably gathered and inscribe it with New Year's resolutions before burning the wooden promise in the Yule fire that is kept burning through the solstice night. As the tongues of fire dance in our tired eyes, we exchange locally bought or environmentally friendly gifts. To top it all off, we hold a feast of waste-free organic co-op food with warm wassail and glühwein. It is the most wonderful time of the year.